Hello everyone and welcome to another tutorial in the Coollab Discovery series. Today we are going to see how to use the time node in order to have an animated artwork. This is how we will progress. First we'll start from an artwork, then we will use the time node in order to do animation, and finally we will export the artwork as a video. That being said, let's get started. For today's tutorial, we will use the artwork we made during the previous one, namely this simple flower here composed of 6 nodes. And you probably noticed that when sometimes you are changing a value of a parameter inside Coollab, it has a direct impact on the image in the view panel. To show you this, let's select the kaleidoscope node here, and we will change the value of the time slider. And as you can see, the image is changing accordingly to the value. So why not create an animation for these parameters? And this is where the time node comes into play. So you can use the time node to animate a property of a node. In our case, let's play with the mirror repeating circle node. Let's link the time node to its period parameter. And now this period parameter will increase over time. So if I press play on the timeline, we can see how it is going. Okay, so now let's talk a bit more about the time node. Within this node, you have two parameters. Speed, where you can control the speed of the animation, and offset. You can effectively select an offset to make sure a time of 0 corresponds to the moment you want in the animation. In our case, we'll set both the speed and the offset to 1. We use an offset of 1 because we want our smallest period to be 1 and not 0. Let me show you. Let's reset the time to 0. And as you can see, the first frame of our animation will be this plane square, but we do not want that. So that's why we set the value of the offset to 1. And as you can see now, the first frame will be this one. Let's zoom out a bit by resetting the camera. And now let's press play to see how it is going. That's really nice. Okay, it's great we now have the period increasing over time, but we would like to have a back and forth movement. To achieve that, you can apply a sine wave node onto the time, for example. Let's just pause this, and we will add the sine wave node. This node has 3 parameters: mean and max, which control how small and big the value will get, and period. Period is the time it takes to complete a full cycle in seconds. A cycle starts at the minimum value, goes all the way up to the max value, and then back to the minimum value. So let's put this node between the time node and the mirror repeating circle 1. So we can do it like so. Here we go. And now we can modify the different parameters. So we can set the minimum value to 1 and the maximum to 4 and the period to 5. Let's reset the time to 0 to see how it is going. And now we can press play to see the result. We have a nice back and forth movement. That's great. Okay, so when we are happy with the animation, we can go over to the export section. In the drop-down menu, click on the video option. As for the image in the previous tutorial, we can choose the resolution and the aspect ratio as well as the path where we want to save our frames. You can also change the frame rate. I will stick with 30 FPS in my case. You can also change the duration of the animation, either in seconds or in frames. I will stick with 10 seconds in my case. And when you are happy with all the parameters, you can click on Start Exporting. And as you can see, it will start exporting all the frames. And now it's done. Great, let's jump to the next step. Okay, so now that we have all the frames, we can use them inside the software of our choice to create a sequence and export it to a video. We'll take the example of shutter and color in this tutorial because it's free and easy to use. If you want to download it, we will put a link in the description below. Once you have it downloaded, open it and proceed as follows. First, select all the frames, drag and drop them inside this area. Great. Now, under the Choose Function menu, we'll have to choose an output codec. In our case, we'll use the H264. Great. Now go over this image sequence menu and ensure that you have selected 30 FPS because this is the frame rate we use when exporting in Coollab. You can also click on play here and you will have a little preview. Okay, so now that we have this thing done, we can go back to the output section. Here I will keep the first option selected, so output 1, same as source, because I want my video to be located at the same location as the frames. When we are good with this, we can click on Start Function. It will start exporting. Okay, it's done. And now we have our video. Good job. And what you are seeing now are some other artworks we made combining nodes, their parameters, and the time nodes. And as you can see, we have great results as well. It is now your turn to experiment with the time node to animate your artworks. Feel free to modify the example we've done together. You can play with different nodes parameters, you can add multiple time nodes, and admire the results at the end. And this is the end of the tutorial. I hope you appreciated it. If so, consider leaving a like. Do not hesitate to post any comment under the video if you are facing any issues. And more importantly, feel free to subscribe if you do not want to miss out the next tutorials. With that being said, see you next time.